Welcome back, dear students of class 8. Today we are going to start the part 6 of our chapter Introduction to Java and BlueJ. Students, in this part we will cover fundamentals of Java language. But before starting this fundamentals of Java language topic, some student has asked me to explain how to run or how to get the output of the Java program again. So students, it is very easy how to run the Java program using our BlueJ IDE. So what we need to do is that first we need to write the correct Java program, okay, which I have already explained in the previous video, how to write your first Java program. Okay, after writing your Java program, students, look over here. I've written this Java program in the BlueJ. Okay, how to create class and all that I've already explained in the previous lecture. Now after correctly writing our Java program, what we need to do is we need to compile this. Okay, we need to click on this compile button. Okay, now as soon as I click on this compile button, a message will come over here. If my program is totally correct, a message will come that your class is compiled and there are no syntax errors. That means your program has no errors. Look over here. See, I click on the compile button. The program is correctly written, and that's why it is written. The message has come, class compiled, no syntax errors. As soon as you see this message, just go and click on this close button over here. After you click on the close button, you will be redirected back to this screen, okay, and see over here, compiling has been done. Okay, compiling has been done. This message is shown. Now you need to go to this class file that we had created and right click on this. After right clicking, come to this void main string args. Now this is our main method. This is the entry point of our program, as I explained you in the previous lecture. Okay, just click on this void main string args, then you will be redirected to this particular box over here, dialog box, BlueJ method call, and then we need to click on this button OK. As soon as we click on the OK button, see, this is my output. This is the BlueJ terminal window which shows me the output of this particular program. Okay students, I hope it is clear. Now students, when you again and again, what will happen is that when you run your program for the first time, okay, and after that if you go to this options button, please make sure that this option is checked. Okay, clear screen at method call. If you don't check it, see, right now I have unchecked it. If you don't check it, then when you run this program again, what is going to happen is that this is the previous output and this is the new output. So the number of times you run, the old outputs are going to be shown, and that is why you need to clear the screen at method call. Okay, so this option should be checked. Okay, so once I do this and if I check the output again, see, now it is coming only one output at a time. So make sure that you do this. I hope how to run Java program or how to get the output of a Java program that has been written and compiled correctly, you have understood that part. Now moving on to our topic that was left in the previous lecture. Okay, so this topic was left. Okay students, this topic was left. What happens when we try to compile and run the Java program? What actually happens? This is an important note. See students, what happens is that Java compilation process is different from other programming languages compilation process, and this is a very important topic because this is what makes Java programming write anywhere and you can run on any machine. This is what makes Java program or Java language machine independent, because you can write a particular program on any particular machine and then you can run it on any other type of computer or machine. Okay, so this is a very important procedure. What happens is that when you write the Java program, so suppose I have written this Java program. Let me again start my BlueJ. suppose I have written this Java program. See this Java program. Okay. Now you can see I have written this Java program. Okay. As soon as you write the Java program gets saved. The Java program, what happens? It gets saved. Okay. It gets saved. The Java program is saved as welcome.java. Okay. Welcome.java. Why welcome.java? Because the class name is welcome. That's why. If I change this name, it will be saved with another name, but the extension will be .java. Okay. This dot will not be there. So when I write the Java program is saved as welcome.java file. Okay. But as soon as I click on this compile button, see, I'm clicking on this compile button, and see, the class has been compiled. The compilation produces another file. That means welcome.java file will be there, but one more file will be created. That file's name will be same, welcome only, but its extension will be different. This file's extension will be .class. So okay, so this extension will be different. Okay. Now this file, this welcome.class file, this file is executed by the computer. Executed means this file is run by the computer. This is the file that is going to show us our output. But how does that happen? Look at this diagram. When we write the Java program, it is saved as welcome.java. But on compilation, the compiler saves it with another saves it as another file which is called as welcome.class. Okay. Now this welcome.class file, this gets interpreted by the Java interpreter. So you can see when we run a Java program, it is both compiled also and interpreted also. Okay. Now, and I hope you know the difference between compilation and interpretation. Okay. Now moving on. Now this welcome.class file, okay, it gets interpreted, and as you know, after the interpretation process, the code will be translated into the machine language code. Now this code which has been translated into the machine language, this is understood by the computer, because as you know, computer only understands machine language, and then the computer provides us the output. Okay, so this is the Java compilation process. Okay, now this file, by default the files are saved in the documents folder. So I'll show you. I'll go to my documents folder. See, this is my documents folder, and as you can see, this is my project file ICSC that I created that day, and inside this you can see there is a welcome.java file which is saved when we write the program, and then when we compile the program, a welcome.class file is created after the compilation process. So see, by default they are saved in the documents folder. Moving on, Java is a language that can be both compiled and interpreted. So as you can see in this diagram, the welcome.java file gets compiled, the compilation produces welcome.class file, and this welcome.class file gets interpreted. Okay, so this is the complete Java compilation process. I hope you understood this. Moving on to the next part, modifying a program. Modifying. What is the meaning of modifying a Java program? Okay, modifying a program means you can make changes in the program anytime. Okay, if you want to make any particular changes in your program, you can make it anytime. What you need to do is you need to open your BlueJ, you need to open your particular project. So I will open my ICSC project. Okay, and now see, this is my class file, yes or no? So what we need to do is that double click on the welcome class icon. So this is the welcome class icon. Double click on it. As soon as you double click on it, what happens is that the program screen will appear. So this is the program screen. Okay, now make changes you want to do. So whatever changes you want to do, you can make in this. Okay, suppose instead of welcome, I want to change the name of the class only, first program. Okay, I am changing the name to first program. Okay, and then I am clicking on compile. See, it is getting compiled. I am closing it. Now see, the name of the class has changed. Okay, so I've done some changes, yes or no? Now save the changes and recompile the program. So I have just recompiled it. Okay, see, you can click on this, close, and it will be saved. Okay, and now recompile it. So I'll just click on this compile button and it has got compiled. Okay, then what we need to do, if no errors reflects on the screen, it means that the changes are correct. So as you can see, there are no errors on this screen right now. But suppose I make some error, instead of writing void, v of void as a small, I just write it capital. So now it will show me error, missing return statement. Why? This void is the return type. Yes, so it is showing me an error. So I need to check my program and correct the error and then compile it again. Now it is showing me no error, and then I will close it. Now if no error reflects on the screen, it means that the changes are correct. Now execute the program. Now again I am showing you how to execute this program. Right click on the class icon. Okay, then click on this void main string args, and then you click you will be redirected to this BlueJ method call screen. Okay, and then click on OK, and see, this is your output. Okay, this is how you run your Java program. Okay, so I have explained you again this. Okay, this is how you modify your Java program. Now moving on to the next topic. Okay, the next topic is program. See, the question will be given like this: write a program to print your name 4 times in the same line. Okay, 4 times in the same line. Okay, so this is that program. Okay, I'll just show you. I'll just make a new program. The name of the class is name. Okay, so I'll make a new program. How to make a new program? Click on this new class file button. Sorry, new class button. See, I clicked on the new class button. It's asking for the name of the class. So just give some name. Okay, I'm giving the name program 2. Okay, I'm giving the name program 2. You can give any name. Over here they have given the name of the class as name. So as to avoid confusion, I'll just change the name of my class to program 2. Okay, and then I'll click on OK. Now as you can see, the program 2 this class icon over here. Okay, just double click on it and we will be redirected to our this program editor page. Okay, this is the program editor page. Okay, so we will be redirected to this page. Okay, this is the program screen. Okay, click Control plus A. Okay, what we need to click on? Control plus A. Okay, Control plus A over here. Control plus A, and everything will be selected, and then click on the backspace key. So everything will be deleted. All the code that was there, it will be deleted. After deleting all the code, now we need to type our program. So let us do that. What is the program? We have to write a program, okay, to print our name 4 times in the same line. So let us do it. We'll create the public class. What is the name of my class? Program 2. Okay, then we will open this class with the help of this curly brace. Then inside this curly brace we will write our main method, which is public static void main, and inside this the argument string args. Okay, okay, string args. Now moving on, now we will come to the next line and we will open this main method, okay, with the help of this curly brace. Okay, inside this main method there is we have to print our name 4 times, na? So we are going to use this system dot out dot print ln method. Okay, this method we are going to use to type. This method will help us to print the output on the screen. Okay, now students, see, inside this I'm writing double quotes. Now students, whatever you type inside the double quotes will be printed as it is. I already told you in the previous lecture. So suppose my name is Vijay. Okay, so if I keep only this much, okay, system.out.println, and if I keep only this much, after this I'll close the main method, and then I will come to next line and I'll close the this class also. Now if I compile it, it will be successfully compiled. Okay, and if I close it, now see, I'll go to the output screen, I'll check the output. See, the output is Vijay, but this is not the output that we want, because it is asking for us, for what? It is asking for that we need to type, get the output as 4 times. Okay, look over here. See, write the program to print your name 4 times in the same line. If you wanted write a program to print your name, then this would have been correct. But we want a program where our name should be 4 times. That means what I can do, I have to type it again Vijay, then again inside the double quotes 4 times, because I want it 4 times, right? So again. Okay, now see students, now there is an error still. See, this is not the correct program. See, errors found in the class. Why? Because see students, whatever we have written inside this double quotes, okay, this is a double quote, this now inside, sorry, this is the first double quote, and this closes the first double quote. Now whatever we have written inside this double quote, this is a string, string of these characters. Okay, this is another string, this Vijay, which is written in another double quotes, another pair of double quotes. This Vijay is written in another pair of double quotes, and this Vijay is written in another pair of double quotes. So students, what we need to do is that we need to type this, we need to concatenate all these things. We need to concatenate all these 4 different strings, and we do that with the help of a concatenation operator, which is called as this plus. This plus over here is called as the concatenation operator. What is it called? The concatenation operator. Okay, so what is it this plus is doing? That it is concatenating this Vijay with this. This plus is concatenating this string and this string. This plus is concatenating this string and this string, and this plus is concatenating this and this. Now you will ask me, what is the meaning of concatenation? What is the meaning of concatenation with the help of an example in Microsoft Excel? So suppose I write Vijay over here, and then I write, suppose I write red over here, and then in this another cell I write rose. So as you can see, red is written over here and rose is written over here. Now suppose in cell C, I want that red and rose both should be written in the same line, in the same cell, sorry, not in the same line. So what I want is that I want to concatenate or add these two and put over here. See, if you write 4 over here, and then if you write 5 over here, and if you want the addition of these two over here, so what do? You write the formula equal to sum, okay, this plus this, yes, and then the addition will be printed over here, yes or no? But these two are numbers can be added, but what about the text? This is text data, right? This is text data, this is another text data. So adding these two text data to create a bigger text is called as concatenation. How to do that in Excel? What we do is that in Excel, students, as you have already learnt in Excel, for concatenation, you studied concatenation in your chapter 2, I guess. Okay, chapter 2, yes. In chapter 2, you studied about concatenation. Okay, so for concatenation in Excel, we use this ampersand. If you remember, we use ampersand. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to write a formula over here equal to, okay, then the name of this cell, address of this cell, and then use this ampersand, and then address of this cell, and then we need to click enter. See, these two cells have been concatenated. This is called as concatenation. But in Excel, Microsoft Excel, you use this ampersand for concatenating two strings or text data. But in our this Java, instead of ampersand, we use this plus sign. Now see, this can be treated just as that red rose. Yes, so see, Vijay is written over here. I'll just give a space over here so that there is difference between these different strings. Okay, so now I'm going to compile it. See, there are no syntax errors. Close it, and now let's check the output of this program too. See, is it the correct output? Yes, it is the correct output. What was the output that was needed? Write a program to print your name 4 times in the same line. See the output, Ankush, 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 Ankush over here, because they have used the word Ankush. Now, and I have used my name. Okay, so I hope you understood this particular program. Okay, moving on to the next program. The next program, students, is to write a program to display your name, your class, and roll number of a student. Okay, so, and we have to display them in different lines. Okay, earlier we wanted line, that's why we used only one system.out.println. But over here, okay, we are going to use 3. Okay, now students, one more thing to be noted over here, that they have not used println, but they have used the print method. So there is a difference between print and println method. The println method, what it does, it the print method, it displays all the things that are written inside this in one line. But the println method means ln over here stands for new line. Okay, so the println method displays the output in different lines. Okay, so they have used the print method, it does. Okay, so let's move on to the next program, students. The next program is write a program to display the name, class, and roll number of a student. So let us do that program. Again, we come to the BlueJ screen, we click on the new class. Okay, now it's time for us to give the name of the program. So I'll just write the program as program 3. They have used the biodata, so let's use the biodata only. Okay, they have used the class name as biodata over here. See, so we will also use the biodata name. Let's use that. Okay, now double click on this program screen has opened. Control plus A, delete everything, then start typing your program. How? Create the class public class. What is the name of the class? Biodata. Then open this class with the help of this curly braces. Then public static, this is our main method, void main string args. Okay, now open this main method. Okay, now what is our output? See, what do we need? We need this output. Okay, so let's print ln. Now what will println do? The println method will print the output in different lines. If you use print, only print, then it will display in the same line. So we will use print ln. Okay, we will use print ln method. Okay, now inside the double quotes, name is, okay, then space. Suppose I am giving the name Vijay. Okay, my name is Vijay, so you give your own name, and then with the semicolon we will terminate this statement. Okay, now remember that semicolon is not used with the main method because the method is not getting terminated over here, the method is starting. Okay, then moving on to the next line, system dot out dot print ln. The next thing, class. Okay, class is, then suppose 8th. Okay, I'll just write 8th. So chalo, you want to write 8th, let's write 8th. Okay, and then the third line, system dot out dot print ln, then roll number is, okay, whatever is your roll number. Okay, suppose 20, we'll just give any random roll number. Okay, oh sorry, double quotes, and done. Okay, now we just need to close the main method and close opening the class. This is the corresponding for closing. This is for closing the main method, and this is for opening the main method, this one, and closing the main method. So now the program is done. Let's compile this. I have compiled it. No class compiled, no syntax errors. Just close this and let's take the output of this biodata, and you can see this is my output, which is correct according to the given question. So I hope you understood these two programs. Okay, students, which are very easy ones. Okay, now I hope you will practice these programs. Okay, now moving on to the next topic. The next topic is just let me open the next topic. The next topic is the fundamentals of Java programming. Okay, so let's start with fundamentals of Java programming. Okay, so these are the fundamentals of Java programming language. The first topic is the tokens. So what are Java tokens? Students, what are Java tokens? A token in Java. What is token? The smallest meaningful element of a Java program is called as token. So if this is a Java program, from here to here, this is a Java program, then even the smallest meaningful word, okay, like this public, like this class, like this name, then this curly brace, opening curly brace, again this public word, this static, these individual things, okay, even this system word, this out word, okay, all these things individually, they are called as tokens. They are called as tokens. So the smallest meaningful element of a Java program is called as a token. So if I come to this program, this public word is a Java token. Okay, this static word is also a Java token. If we talk about this curly brace, this curly brace is also a Java token. So the smallest meaningful element of a Java program is called as a Java token. Now tokens define the structure of Java language. Okay, so these tokens define the structure of a Java programming language. Okay, the tokens are the basic building blocks which can be put together to construct a program. So see, different tokens are there in this Java program, and different tokens been used to construct this Java program also. And if you will write a new other Java programs, you will use different types of tokens. Okay. Now students, a token can be a reserved word. Okay, a reserved word which are called as keywords. Okay, now those tokens can be of different types. I will show you a small this. See, Java tokens are of 5 categories. Okay, how many categories? 5 categories. Now this is not there in your book. This is from another book. Okay, there are 5 categories of tokens in Java. They are the keywords, identifiers, literals, punctuators, and operators. Okay, so remember this diagram. See, tokens are of 5 types: keywords, identifiers, literals, punctuators, and operators. So whatever you see in this program, you can see that this public is a token, this curly brace is a token, this class is a token, this name that is written over here, this biodata that is written over here, everything is a token. But there are 5 different types of tokens in Java language. Okay, what are those 5 different types? Keywords, they are divided into 5 different categories: keywords, identifiers, literals, punctuators, and operators. So let's talk about them also. Now, a token can be a reserved word. A reserved word means nothing but the keywords. Okay, then reserved words such as int or while. Now you have not studied about these keywords, but public is also a keyword only. Okay, this static, this void, the all, and this main, all these are keywords. This system, it can be an identifier such as a sum or I, or this name or this biodata that we have written over here. This is also an identifier. This biodata, this name, the name of the class is a identifier. Okay, it identifies the name of the class. Okay, then this sum or I can be the name of a variable or a constant. You will be studying what are variables and constants in the upcoming lectures. Then a constant, so I just told you that you will be studying about the constant in the upcoming lecture. Basically, what is constant? Constant is something whose value does not change. Okay, it can also be a variable. Okay, then a punctuator such as the this curly braces or this semicolon. So see, in this particular program over here, this curly brace and this semicolon that is used to terminate the Java statement, this semicolon over here, these two are the punctuators. Okay, then or operators. Operators are what? Operators are the symbols like plus, minus, asterisk for multiplication, this percentage for modulus, and slash, forward slash for division. Okay, so these are operators. Operators are used to perform arithmetic or logical or relational operations in Java. Arithmetic means mathematical operations. Okay, so you will be studying about each of these 5 types of tokens in Java. Okay, now all the tokens that comprise Java, okay, that means all these 5 types of tokens in Java and their examples comprise inside the Java, they are known as the Java token set. So all the different types of keywords, different types of identifiers, different types of literals, different types of punctuators, and different types of operators, all these combine to create Java token set. Okay, so these are tokens. Token means what? The smallest meaningful element of a Java program. And there are 5 types of tokens, that are keywords, identifiers, literals, punctuators, and operators. Okay, so let's first talk about the identifier. What is an identifier? Suppose if I ask you your name, okay, if you come to school and I ask you your name, what is your name? Then you will tell me your name, na? That my name is, suppose my name is Vikas. Okay, you will tell that my name is Vikas. So what are you doing? You are telling me your identity. So an identifier tells the identity of something. Okay, an identifier is a name given to different components of Java program. Okay, identifiers are the names that are given to different components of a Java program. For example, in this program, public class, the name of the class. See, in this program, this biodata is the name of this particular program. That means it has been identified by this name. So this biodata over here is an identifier. And who has given this name? We have given this name. Okay, we, the programmers or we are the programmers of the Java. We right now we are learning Java language, so we are the programmers, so we have given this name. Okay, an identifier is any name given to different components of the Java program. Okay, so this is the name of the class. This biodata is the name of this class. So this biodata is identifier. Class is not an identifier. The name of this class is an identifier. Then identifiers are used to denote class name, as I showed you in the example, method name. Okay, so if you create a method in Java, then that method name will also be an identifier. Variable name. Now you will be studying what are variables. Variables simply, if I tell you in simple language, variables are something whose value changes during the execution of the program. Okay, that's why they are named as variable. Variable comes from the word vary. Vary means what? Its value changes. I will be explaining you variable in detail, don't worry, in this chapter only. Okay, now, so when we'll learn more Java programs, we will have to create variables and then give names to it. So those variables name will also be called as identifiers. Okay, these are defined by the Java programmer. I told you that identifiers are defined by the Java programmer. We will define it. Now, rules for naming the identifiers. Now see, students, you cannot just give any name to your identifiers. Okay, so you cannot just give any name to this class. You have to follow certain rules. See, what are those rules? An identifier that we use in the Java program may be composed of any combination of letters from A to Z, which are capital A to Z. That means you can use the name, the identifier name as, you can use capital A to Z. You can also use small a to Z. And you can use only two symbols, that is underscore, this symbol underscore. I hope you know this symbol underscore. I'll just show you this symbol. Oh, sorry. This symbol over here. This is the underscore symbol. And don't get confused underscore with this hyphen. This is underscore and this is hyphen. So you can use underscore. Okay, you can use underscore, and you can also use the dollar sign in while naming your identifier. So you can use this dollar sign also. Okay, then apart from these two symbols, you cannot use any other symbols. Okay, so this is the first rule. So you can use any combination of letters A to Z or small a to Z, capital A to Z or small a to Z, or both. Okay, an identifier name should not be a Java keyword. That means I told you that this public word is a keyword. Keyword means what? They are the special or reserved words of Java. Okay, so you cannot use a keyword as your identifier name. For example, over here, this biodata is the name of this class, right? So you cannot use public class public, okay, as your identifier or class name. Why? Because public is a keyword. Okay, in the same manner, there are many keywords that you will be studying, that like this static is a keyword, void is a keyword, this main is a keyword, this system is a keyword, this out is the keyword. So you cannot use these names as your identifier name. Then the third is Java identifier can be of any length. Now students, there are certain more rules that you need to follow, which I will explain you from here. See, Java identifier naming convention. Okay, this will give you a clear explanation of how to name your identifier. An identifier can consist of any combination of letters, digits, the underscore character and the dollar sign. That means you can use letters from A to Z, capital and small both. You can also use digits from 0 to 9. Okay, you can use digits, but an identifier name cannot begin with a digit. That means the starting of name of the identifier should not be a digit. After the first this, it can be a digit. Okay, then you can also use the underscore and dollar sign. Then an identifier cannot begin with a digit. So you need to remember this. This is not written over here. You need to remember this, that you cannot use a digit starting. You cannot use the starting. You cannot begin your identifier name with a digit. For example, if I try to rename this class as one biodata, then it will be an error. See, identifier expected. So why identifier expected? See, it's showing error over here. Why? Because I have started the name of my class, which is an identifier, with a digit 1. So that cannot happen. Yes, you can use the digit anywhere else, like bio B1, okay, or you can use at the end bio, see, underscore 1. I can use this also, or I can use biodata 1 or biodata 2, 23. So this is a correct this identifier name. Okay, so this is how you name your this identifiers. Then the other rule is identifiers may be of any length. Okay, see, this is also a correct identifier name. Now both uppercase and lowercase letters can be used in naming identifier. So we have already covered this. Then Java is case sensitive. Remember this, students. Java is a case sensitive language, which means that two identifier names that differ only in upper and lower case, okay, in upper and lower case characters are considered to be different identifiers. That means even if the spelling is same, but you have used uppercase and lowercase in both different. For example, see, this over here, total is written in small. See over here, this total is written in small. Okay, but over here T is capital and others are in small. So this is a different identifier name, and this will be considered as a different identifier name. Okay, now see, T over here and T over here is capital, and then L is also capital. So these three are different identifiers name, and over here all the letters are in capital. So all these four names over here are different identifiers. Okay, why? Because Java is case sensitive. We studied HTML in the previous class. HTML was not case sensitive. So for HTML these were same names, but for Java these are different names. Okay, why? Because Java is case sensitive. So these are the 5 rules that you need to follow while naming the identifier. Okay, now see, I'll also show you some examples of valid identifier names. For example, see, student underscore name. See, this particular identifier name is following all these rules. See, it can begin with small or capital letter, no matter. So it is beginning with a small or capital letter. Then it is using the underscore symbol. You can use the underscore symbol. And then again it is using capital letters. It doesn't matter. So this is a correct identifier name. Student underscore name is a correct identifier. Then $M1 English. This is also a correct identifier name. Why? You can use the dollar or underscore sign at the starting. What you cannot use at the start? A digit. Okay, you cannot use a digit at the start. So this is also a correct identifier name. File3, this is also a correct identifier name. It is following all these rules. Underscore age, correct identifier name. Total, correct identifier name. This underscore is underscore a underscore very underscore long underscore identifier. This is also a correct identifier name. So okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, how but it will not be considered as a good programming practice if you write a very big identifier name. You can write it, You can use any number of characters while writing your identifier name, but it would not be considered a good programming practice, but it is valid. Okay, then let's talk about some of the invalid or incorrect identifier names. For example, this is written over here. See, now see, only this is written. See over here, this, then underscore is written, and then all the other things are also written, but over here this is written. So see why you cannot use this, because this is a Java keyword. Now there are total of 50 or some 50 keywords in Java. Okay, one by one you will learn them, so you cannot use this keyword. Okay, this is a Java keyword, and as the rule suggests, you cannot use a where okay, you cannot use the this where's that rule? An identifier should not be a Java keyword. This rule. Okay, an identifier should not be a Java keyword. So because this word is a Java keyword, you cannot use this as your identifier name. That's why this is an invalid identifier name. Now moving on to total amount. Now see, total and amount, there is a space over here. Yes, there is a space over here. So space is also not allowed in a identifier name. Only two symbols are allowed, underscore and dollar. So if you replace this space with underscore, then this will become a correct identifier name. Then 1m underscore eng. What about this? This identifier name is wrong, because 1 identifier name cannot begin with a digit, and this 1 is a digit. So this is also an incorrect identifier name. Then going to total hyphen marks. You cannot use any other special characters apart from underscore and dollar. So this is how you name your identifiers. Okay, so these are some rules that you need to follow while naming your identifiers. So I hope you understood what are identifiers and the rules for naming them. So always follow these rules while naming your class, variables, constants and other type of identifiers. Moving on, what are keywords in Java? Okay, now I told you about the keywords earlier only. Let's talk about them again. Keywords are the reserved words of Java program. Okay, with some special meaning. So these are some special words that Java has kept reserved with them, and you cannot use these words as your identifier names. And can be used for that particular purpose only, because they convey special meaning. Okay, now keywords cannot be used as identifiers. That is, you cannot use them in variable name, class name, method name. Okay, already we have discussed that over here. All the keywords are written in lowercase letters only. For example, see this public, void, class. See, I told you what this public, class, public, static, void, this main, all these, this out, all these are the what? These are the keywords. This system is not a keyword. Okay, this system is not a keyword. Okay, now, so these are few examples. So now you cannot use this word public as your identifier name. You cannot use void, this class. Okay, so these are the keywords in Java. Then what are keywords? Again, keywords are the reserved words of Java program. They convey special meaning to the Java compiler and can be used only for that particular purpose. Okay, next is constants. What are constants? Constants means fixed values that do not change during the execution of a program. What does that means? Once you have defined a constant value, then throughout the execution of the program that value will not change. If that value does not change, then that is a constant. Okay, then these values can be digits, character constants, digits or character constants. For example, 12 minus 22.5, 7.5. If these values do not change, see, they can change also. Means something that is fixed. Okay, if I tell you, for suppose if you go out to work, if I tell you throughout your life you will be paid only 40,000 rupees per month, that means your salary is constant, it is not going to change. Okay, that is the meaning of constant, something which does not change, like the uh, the distance between earth and sun, it is not changing, na, it is a constant. Okay, so let's talk about this other. There are two types of constants, digits. Okay, the values can be digits and there can be character constants. For example, anything that is written inside this double quotes, okay, this is a string or character. Okay, constants are also referred to as literals. Okay, literals in Java means nothing but the values only. Okay, literals means nothing but values only. Now moving on, see, this is numeric constant. Numeric constants, these values can be integer constants. What is the meaning of integer? Integer means what, student? It can be from a negative, it can be any negative number or any positive number. Okay, it can also be 0. Okay, but it will not be a decimal value. Integer constant or integer means what? It will not be a decimal value. Okay, for example, 12, minus 5, minus 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 2, any number which is not a decimal number is an integer constant. Okay, minus 7, 8, 6, all these are example of integer constants. Okay, or integer type of number. Real constants means what? They can include decimal numbers also. I hope you have studied integer numbers and real numbers in your mathematics. Okay, so real means what? Real means what? They will include the decimal numbers also, and integer will not include the decimal numbers. They will include a positive and negative, both the numbers. Okay, now character constants. What are character constants? Now see, these constants can be single character or string or multiple characters. String means what? Multiple characters. Okay, now a string character constant is enclosed inside the single quotes. So for example, see, this is a single word, yes or no? So this is a single character. Single character is always enclosed in single quotes. See, this P. Now you'll ask me that, sir, this is the number 4 and this is a digit, so it should be numeric constant. Yes, but see, as soon as this is enclosed inside the single quotes, this becomes a character constant. Okay, so this 4 is right now, it is a character, it is treated as character. Why? Because it is enclosed inside the double quotes. If you single quotes, if you remove this single quote, then this will be treated as a numeric constant of type integer. Okay, small s inside the single quotes, this is a single character constant. Whereas a string constant, string means sequence of characters which are enclosed inside the double quotes. For example, see, this Kips is written over here inside the double quotes. If I write any word in English, suppose if write it inside the double quotes, that means this is a string. This is a, inside the double quotes, that means this is a string. Okay, this has become a string. Now moving on. But if I write suppose P and inside the single quotes, not inside the double quotes but inside the single quotes, then this is a single character constant. Okay, this is a string, this is a single character. Okay, this is character, single character, this is multiple character, or this is also called as string. So you use any word inside this double quote Okay, inside the double quote it becomes a string. Moving on. Now see, welcome to the world of Java. Now this is a big string which contains multiple small characters, but see, this entire thing is inside the double quotes. Because it is inside the double quotes, it is treated as a single string. This is space, so this space is also a part of this string. The space over here is also part of this string. Space over here, all these spaces are the part of this particular big string only. Okay, moving on to a very important topic which is called as variables. Now variables is just opposite to what constants are. Okay, constant is something whose value does not change throughout the execution of the program, but a variable is a named location in a memory which stores the data temporarily. Okay, now I will explain you this variable with the help of another example. Let me show you variables. See, now students, a variable is an identifier that denotes the location in computer's memory to store a data value. Now see students, what is written over here? For example, देखो यहाँ पे what is written? Area of circle equal to pi into RAD to the power 2. Now this area of a circle that is written over here, this is an identifier which is variable. Why it is variable? Because as soon as you change the value of this radius, its value will also change. You change the value of radius, it will change. You change the value of in mathematics you cannot change. Okay, so if you change the value of radius, suppose earlier radius was 1, so its value will be different. If you change the value of radius to 2, then its value will also change, and so on. That's why it is called as a variable, something whose value is changing. Now coming to this part, a variable is a named location in a memory which stores the data temporarily. Temporarily means, why temporarily? Because if you change the value of the variable, it will change. That's why it is not storing the data permanently. It is not storing the same data permanently. You can change its value. Okay, a variable has a unique name, a type. Every variable has a type. Okay, what are different types of variable? That we will study in this topic, data types. Okay, data types. See, variables are of different data types: integer, or we can call it int in Java, then this float, double, then char and boolean. Okay, so these are different data types that we will study. Okay, so a variable can be of these different data types. Okay, now students, coming back, a variable is a named location in memory which stores the data temporarily. Why temporarily? Because its value can change. Its name is variables. Variable means vary, something whose value varies. Okay, now a variable has a unique name. For example, see this area of a circle. Okay, it has a unique name. Now who has given this name? We have to follow the naming conventions. Okay, and then we can give the of identifiers. Okay, all the 5 rules that we studied for naming the identifier. So variables are also identifier. Variables are not identifier. The name of the variable is an identifier. Okay, now it can hold one data at a time. A variable can hold how much data at a time? One data at a time, and can accept different values during the execution of the program. That means its value can change throughout the execution of the program. Now let us understand this with the help of examples. Now see, let area of circle equals to pi into rad square. Now in this above statement there are two variables, area of circle and radius. Why? Because their value can change. See, the area of circle, value of this area of circle depends on this radius. And if you know, if you have studied geometry, you studied that area of a circle is pi r square, and this value of pi is constant. The value of pi is constant, it cannot change. Its value is 3.14 or 22/7. You have studied this. Okay, so this is a constant, but this rad, or which stands for radius, and this area of a circle, these two are variables because their value can change. During the course of execution, we find the area of circle by entering the value of radius, by entering the value of this RAD. The variable rad will store the previous value of radius until we assign a new value. That means suppose I give this value, suppose I give this radius value 3, okay, in the first line. Okay, in one line I give the value of radius as 3. I will just show you this program right now, don't worry about it, then you will understand it in a better manner. Suppose I give this value of radius in the program, suppose 3, and then I decide to change this value in the next statement. So what will happen? The value of area of circle will also change. Yes or no? Suppose from 3 if I make it 4, then this value will also change, and because these values are changing, that's why it is called as variable. That's why during the course of execution we find that area of circle, we find the area of a circle by entering the value of radius. The variable rad, or which is over here for radius, will store previous value of radius until we assign a new value. Okay, hence using a variable we can easily calculate area of circle as many as times as we wish. Now, variable declaration and initialization. Now students, in Java there are two things associated with variable. Whenever you want to use variables in Java, there are two things that you need to do: declaring a variable, and initializing a variable. These two are different activities. Okay, let me explain you this, and after that I will show you a program through which you will understand the variable very clearly. Okay, so let me first explain you this. In Java, each variable must be declared before it is used in the program. Now students, declared means what? Declare means telling the data type of the variable and then giving it a name. Okay, not assigning it value. If you assign it a value, then it is called as initialization. Okay, now the variable declaration consists of two parts. Okay, if you want to declare a variable, you have to tell two things: what is the data type of the variable and what is the name of the variable. So this is the syntax that we use. For example, see over here, int age. Now see, I told you that I will explain you data type in the next class. Now see, there are how many data types? Int is used for integer type of values. I told you what is integer previously. Then for fractional we use two different data types, float and double. For character we use char data type. See, all of them are in small, so you will always use this small. And for boolean we use boolean data type. Now boolean means true or false. It will only give true or false value. Okay, now if you see, fractional has two data types: the integer data type or the int data type. See, this is the integers, all the numbers are integers. These are different examples of integer data type. Float, in fractional you have two, float and double. I will explain you what these are, float and double, in the next class. So let's come back to this. So if it is written over here int, so this is the data type. See, what is the syntax? Data type and then variable name. So look over here, int, then name of the variable. So this, and then followed by this semicolon. So this is a variable declared. This is the age variable declared. Now students, let me explain you with another example. What happens, students, is when you declare a variable, suppose over here you can see what is written, int student age. So what is this int? This int is the data type. okay, then space, and then this student age. This student age is the variable name. This student age is the name of the variable, then your semicolon to terminate the statement. Now when you write this statement in your Java program, what happens is that Java creates an empty memory location in your computer. It creates an empty memory space, see, space like this in your computer. And what is the name of this variable? And gives the name to this empty memory location as whatever your variable name is. So what is the name of this empty variable location? When you declare it, its name will be the same whatever you give over here. So the name of this variable right now, this empty memory location in your computer, when you write this statement, then its name is student age. And currently if you see over here, there is no value inside it. Why? Because you have just declared it. Okay, you have not assigned any value. If you assign a value to your variable, for example, see over here, this is called as initializing variable, which is our next topic. Okay, which is our next topic, initializing the variable. Okay, there are two parts now, I told you earlier, variable declaration and variable initialization. So what is the meaning of initializing a variable? Initializing a variable means, now you have learned how to declare a variable. Initializing a variable means giving it some value. Okay, so how to initialize a variable? There is a syntax: int data type, then the name of the variable, then we use this equal to, which is called as the assignment operator. This equal to is called as the assignment operator. So what is the syntax? Data type, name of the variable, equal to, and then the value. Okay, then the value, suppose they have given value 15, and then you use this semicolon. So what happens when you use this statement in your computer? The Java compiler or the JVM, the Java virtual machine, what it does, it creates a memory location and stores the value 15 in it. And what is the name of this memory location? The name of this memory location is student age. Okay, so this is how you declare and initialize variables. Now student, I hope you understood the difference between declaring a variable and initializing a variable. Okay, now students, if you see over here, there are three variables which are declared. Can you see any value over here? No, no value is assigned. That's why this is called as declaration, just telling the data type. So float is a data type, and this percentage over here is a name of that variable name, and then semicolon. And then this is a third variable that they have told about, char, which is a data type. Okay, char is a data type, and then this grade is the name of the variable. Now students, in the above mentioned statements, okay, the above mentioned statements, these three statements, if you use these three statements in your program, Java program, then they will declare the variable names as age, percentage, and grade of the data types. Okay, so what they have done actually is that they have declared three variables. What are the variable names? Age, percentage, and grade. Okay, and these three are of different data types. The data type of age is int. What is the meaning of this? The meaning of this is that this age can only accept an integer value. Okay, it can accept only an integer value. Sorry, let me show you. It can accept only these values, or not these values. It can accept any number, but it cannot accept a decimal number or a character. Okay, you cannot write A, B, C, D over here. Okay, moving on. Now, if you have written float percentage, that means this variable can accept only these values. It can accept only decimal type of values. Okay, it can accept 44.89, it can accept any decimal value, 1.5, 0.5, but it cannot accept an integer value or a character value or a boolean value. Okay, now Moving on. Next is the char. This is the data type and this is the name of the variable. Now this variable can accept only these values, either inside the single quotes or inside the double quotes. Okay. So this is how you declare your variables. Now students, suppose we can also declare more than one variable of same data type using a single line statement by placing comma between them. Okay, so what we can do, we can declare variables of same data type. Remember, see, what is the data type? Int age comma roll number underscore, that means roll number, this is the name of the variable. Yes, it is following the identifier naming rules. And then are declared in different lines. But if you have multiple variables which you want to declare in the same line, then you can do that also. Int age equals to int, this is the data type, then you have declared age comma, use this comma to separate the variable names, and you can declare multiple variables in the same line. So with this we finish how to declare variables. In the next class, students, we will study about the data types. But